for addition and multiplication both.
Okay.
That is what I worked on. Like this was bar like last week we could not have session because I was shifting the apartment. Before that week, as soon as we had the session, I went through it on Sunday and I was working on this and I did this part and I understood that.
Okay. However, all you added over there are just some actions or operations. Some okay, but you haven't verified anything, right? That's not a test case in true sense.
Okay.
So try to add a add an assertion.
Mhm.
No, try to add now.
Okay. Do you want me to convert that into JUnit, like
No,
whatever
no, no,
captured?
no, 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 no. We'll do that. Generally, we don't do this way. So don't worry. Let's not worry about it. Just add a new command that verifies whether that multiplication is returning properly or not. Like the values coming from the multiplication are right or not.
Okay. Actually, I captured for addition and multiplication, but I'm not seeing the result. It is just showing me 5 into 6 and CSS span dot 4.
No, always when you are doing, open that site. Then you can quickly inspect something and see what is going on, etc. So no, the site is calculator.net. See, open your Firefox, that Selenium IDE. Do you see a base URL here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that is where you can, if you want to, if you say, for example, if you are in development environment, if you want to change it to some production environment, you simply have to change this URL to that environment so that your test will be running on that.
It's like an endpoint, like to
Yeah.
which
Yes.
endpoint we're hitting and getting.
Yes. Okay. Now do that assertion.
Okay. Why do I do not have your assert equals in this command?
This is not JUnit. That's why.
Uh, Then should I use assert, just assert as sign? or should I use any other parameter?
Oh,
Assert, alert, or
now do they sound anything similar to what you need?
assert value. Not positive. Assert attributes. Okay. Once I add this command and this target and value, actual value, should I say like
What,
how
okay.
to get
Try to understand what is that. What exactly is target?
a target is what value which we get when we what we get when we do it on actual this web this website. So the target and the value is that is what we are expecting. This is the output we are expecting. So we are trying to verify if that both is correct or not by a certain.
Uh, I think you misstated something. Uh, can you just repeat what you said?
Yeah, like my understanding is like target value is the value is the actual value and the value is the expected value. What will be the result after the execution of this test, like this commands.
Not not exactly. See,
Mhm.
the target is uh, okay. Uh, the target is actually the uh, not the actual value, the object that
Mhm.
contains the actual value.
Okay.
Okay, you got it. On which this operation has to be performed. That's what you have to. Uh,
Okay. That is what is the terminology.
yes,
Like it is not the actual value of
the
the
value is
complete
your expect. See,
test.
when you're writing a test case, you wouldn't give actual value, right? You would give an expect actual values object that
Expect.
contains the actual value.
Yeah.
Okay, right? So it's as synonymous to that only, as you have already as you're already aware of how things go. uh,
Mhm.
you don't really have to worry about what the actual value is going to be. You assume that certain object will be containing an actual value and you give that object. That's what the target means.
Okay.
I think
So that's why
Mansa
they have
joined. Mansa, can you hear me? Hopefully, let's see. So now try to finish what you are trying to do. Okay.
okay.
What exactly you mean by, see, what exactly do you think happens when you put a target value over there? Target is the equal to containing the value, actual value. Try to perform that operation, whatever you did on the test case in the Selenium. Mansa, can you hear us now?
It shows red here. Will it tell us why it is red?
Yeah. What do you think is, go to the log.
Okay, no. result is
What does it say?
it says invalid XPath.
Hmm.
So
So the assert attribute takes an XPath of an attribute,
uh-huh,
not a tag. Okay, that's
okay.
the first thing. And next thing, the actual value when you execute that test case manually, you should be able to. Okay. Now, first, to be able to understand what exactly you have to test, perform this operation first. Always do that. Then you will be able to guess somehow. Okay, when you said 5 into 6, you got 30. What exactly you have to verify? Yeah, think about that. 5, where is the multiplication? 6 equals to 30. So you got 30. What exactly you have to do?
We have to check if this value 30, that is the result,
Yes,
is
yes. Whether
it,
this
it is
text
actual
box
value.
contains the 30 or not, whether this label contains the 30 or not. That is what we have to
Okay.
verify. So what will be the target object?
Yeah.
Target object will be this. Okay. So now where is
Okay.
IDE? Okay. Where is it? Firefox IDE? Okay. So now can you, okay, as you also haven't got the attribute, let me assert, there is no assert contains, assert text. Okay, so we can assert text on which element? Can you assert text is the one that you have to use. Is that sound from your?
Hello.
Okay, meanwhile, can you change the target? Hello, can you hear me, Hitesh? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, seems there was a problem with audio connection. Now it is restored. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay. Fine. Can you change that? Which element contains the, what is the target? Can you correct the target?
Yeah, sure.
Now run the test and tell me what has gone wrong.
The actual value 100 and did not match with 30.
Hmm. Why is that?
I performed some addition operation after that multiplication. But
Exactly. Exactly. So sometimes when we are recording, we may record some extra things. So delete that unnecessary operations from there.
this 0 and equal to is not required, right?
Equal to is not required.
But
Thi-
actually,
Think about the operations
it,
you are doing on the browser. Okay, what is that span SCIOP? What exactly does it do?
I'm not very sure. Just to like, is it taking some, like it is concatenating that earlier result and next what we are going to do, something like that. For that
No,
operations that too is used.
no. It is simply performing the click operation. Okay. SCIOP. What SCIOP? We will right click, find you are clicking a plus sign there. After 5 into 6, you are clicking plus, and then you are clicking 7, and then you are clicking 0. That means you got 30, and then you clicked plus, and then you clicked NM, which is nothing but what, 7 is it? Yes, which is nothing but 7. And then you clicked what, 0, which means 70. So 30 plus 70, it is 100.
Yeah, but
Okay.
why? I had a small question. Like, why seven only with the CSS kind of thing, and with why zero with span on click equals to R?
It all
Is
depends on how that application is developed, Hitesh. You cannot have the control of that. Okay. So if you want to understand, try to do an inspect of this element and try to observe how it is. So here they have given the class as SCINM, and then on click equals to this one. Okay, and then the rest of the elements also they have given SCINM, SCINM,
okay.
SCINM, SCINM. Uh, Maybe it is counting the first one with that SCINM. Where is that ID, Selenium ID?
I don't know why it disappears like that.
Okay. So most possibly it must be selecting the first element. So it may, because it is the first element, it didn't bother trying to identify using any other thing. See, it uses a pattern. If there are name and IDs, it will be able to recognize very quickly. So first it will always use them. Okay, and then it uses
Okay,
CSS
yeah,
locator. Okay,
okay,
if it can do it with CSS locator, or based on what I can guess, I'm not sure if I'm right or not. If that is the first element in when you are using CSS locator, then it is simply
okay,
using this CSS locator only. Okay, if it cannot resolve by any of these three ways, then it is going to the XPath, which is why we are getting this for the other elements.
okay,
Okay, as I said, that's just a guess. Unless we see the actual recording and how it is creating the objects, we cannot 100% say the correct answer for sure. But my guess is that if it is able to do it with CSS, and if it is the first element, it is simply recording that CSS locator only.
okay.
Okay, you understood, right? So the output must be
Yeah, 100.
100. So change that expected output and test if it is correctly coming correctly or not. Still failed. Why? Can you guess without seeing it?
Uh,
Okay, you have seen it. That's okay.
Police, like I should have a
Yeah, it is
full stop.
displaying a
Let's see.
comma. Okay. So sorry, it's displaying a period. So that's why you are getting
Yes, great.
you are getting an exception failure. But
But
this understanding is only useful uh, in very basic projects. Okay, whatever this IDE, if that application is complex and it has many screens and many test cases, everything. Let's say you have multiplication add, and then let's say you have multiplication multiply, and this is multiply and add test case. Let's say you have a division test case where you are also using 5.
okay,
Okay, what happens tomorrow if the developer decides to give an ID for this 5 and remove this on click equals to R of 5?
okay,
Okay, so what happens? Every test case of yours fails, right? So what you have to do? You have to open every test case. I did try to identify that element or whatever is there in that particular test, and then change that element's locator or whatever that you have to use. Okay.
or we have to do manually in all the
Yes.
test
Yes.
cases.
Yes. So now you should understand why we generally don't go by Selenium IDE. Okay.
Okay,
So it only works for very small and quick and dirty projects. Okay, so
okay,
but once you have gone through any reasonably useful applications, you really do. Selenium IDE doesn't really have any chance being able to do all that. And as I also said, it can still generate a script and all, but that scripts, all the scripts again will be separate, and they will have a different way of storing each of these 5, 6, 7, 8, everything, right? So again, those Java tests also, you have to go into each script and update that element everywhere you used. Okay. So what you thought, if you say, for example, export test case as
Okay.
JUnit for WebDriver.
But they do use they do use Selenium in our company for few projects.
Yes, they use Selenium, but not Selenium IDE is what I'm telling.
Okay. They use WebDriver more.
Yes, 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 yes. They use WebDriver. Can you open the Java file that I just saved?
Can you see the location again?
Click save again. It will open that. No, say export test case as, click that Java JUnit for WebDriver again. It will open that folder, no? It's saved in some folder called test.
Yeah.
Click here. Click. You understood where it is?
It's in yeah, yeah.
Okay. Open that Java file. Uh, uh, Click this button now. Let's not see all those invisible characters.
Which one?
Okay. So now, if you see, this is also some kind of doing this hard coding, right? Into the strings, in the strings. So again, if we generate 10 different test cases, where each test case has, each Java file has this hard coded, again, it's going to be a problem. That's why we generally don't even use the IDE for generating these JavaScripts. We always write the JavaScripts by hand.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not that difficult. You will be able to understand it without so much of a problem. But now, what I want you to do is open your IDE.
Mm-hmm.
Close, not, no, I'm sorry. Open your IntelliJ. Close this Selenium IDE. Let's not worry about Selenium IDE anymore. So, create a fresh project wherever you want. Yeah, plain Java project. No, not Java EE, just Java project.
Is this one?
No, simple Java project, not Java EE.
Okay, I should
Click here. And it is only showing Java EE projects.
yeah.
Okay, click next. We don't need any of those libraries. And next, give whatever name wherever you want to save it. you saved this project directly in that folder. So your HTML file, Java file, everything is there. That's why. Okay, it did not create a Selenium folder because you did not give it that way. But anyways,
Oh,
that's not a big thing. Now let's open settings, plugins. Let's see if we have a plugin for Selenium WebDriver. If we do, uh, click browse to search Selenium plugin. So it comes on perfecttest.com. That doesn't look like something that we can use. Page object evaluator. Say without starting a full Selenium restaurant, just figure it on its own. Okay, fine. There are no useful plugins, at least for this class. Let's close it. So now let me tell you some theory. What I explained you is in the last week is how to do these things using Selenium IDE, and I also
yeah,
indicated that there is another flavor of it, that is Selenium
yeah.
WebDriver. Okay, so we'll go through some of the Selenium WebDriver basics and try to deal with that, like try to do some things with that, similar things, whatever we did so far. However,
Okay.
Selenium WebDriver is not a tool or something that you can install. You should be able to. Can you open your Firefox, please? Yep. Selenium WebDriver can be downloaded. We have downloaded just IDE, okay, earlier. So now what we have to do download is Selenium WebDriver jars. Okay, so that way we should be able to do the Selenium web or you develop the Selenium Java using JUnit, all the Selenium WebDriver test using Java. If we download this one, if your project needs a C# or Ruby or Python, you should be able to download that. So what we are downloading over here is the WebDriver language bindings.
Okay.
How come it's taking so long to finish the download? I'll tell you what these Internet Explorer driver server are, etc. a bit later. For
Yeah.
now, let's do the basic thing. Can you export? I cannot see that window, whatever is opened.
Yeah.
Okay, it is stuck. Did it open anything?
No.
So it does contain a couple of libraries, some jars, everything. Let's just
Mhm.
extract this and put it somewhere where you all keep all your libraries. And while you're doing it, are you using Maven in your project, or are you're not using anything like that?
Yeah, I'm not using Maven
Okay,
at
okay, just
I
explore it.
use Gradle.
Okay, export it to some place where you keep your libraries, no? No, extract the entire Selenium 2.47.1 folder. Just put that. Yeah, they put this one and the location where you put your libraries.
Libraries of IntelliJ or
Not anywhere, wherever you keep all your common jars that you regularly use. Or if you don't have anything like this, just create a folder and export and put them there. Put them there. Okay, I can put here. Okay. Now let's open our IntelliJ. Open the IntelliJ. No? I don't have the control of your full screen, so I cannot open. Okay. So the next thing that we have to do is add that WebDriver to our libraries, project library. So I hope you are aware of how to do those things. So I'm not telling you. If you are not sure, then tell me. I'll let you know. I'll explain.
yeah,
Where are they located?
but I'm not.
No.
Project. Yes, Selenium.
I think we should have selected the individual jars. So now what we did is we have added that all the jars, whatever we had, Selenium jars we downloaded to the class path of this project.
Okay.
Now we should be able to use our Selenium WebDriver functionality. Okay, so let's just create a package. Now you know how to create JUnit tests and all, right?
Yeah.
So let me just quickly open this public void Selenium test. So now what I have done is I have created a test class and a test method in it, and here I'm going to use the Selenium. How exactly are we doing it if we are using through Selenium IDE? We are opening the Selenium IDE and doing these things, right? The same way, if we want to operate on using Selenium WebDriver, you have to create an instance of a WebDriver. So let me write it, and then I'll explain you WebDriver. I think it only added the files from the libraries folder. Now it added these two also. The Selenium
Yeah.
Java 2.47.1 is the one that is containing the WebDriver. Okay, now we are getting WebDriver. So
Yeah.
now what we have to do is, let's just create a WebDriver, and then WebDriver is an interface. Okay, you cannot create an object of WebDriver. But what you can do is you can create a class that is implementing the WebDriver. So now Firefox driver is one such class. Why do we give Firefox driver? If we want our tests to run in Firefox, obviously we open Firefox and then do all the operations over there. So what we did over here is we are asking it to create a Firefox driver so that all the subsequent steps to our test, whatever we run here, right here, are going to run in a Firefox browser. Okay, how to run them on Chrome and Internet Explorer, etc. We'll see later. If time permits, we'll see them today only, or if it time doesn't permit, we'll see in the subsequent session.
Okay.
So now, what do we have to do? We have a WebDriver. Okay, WebDriver. What exactly does it give an impression? WebDriver, something that drives web. Okay, something that navigates through the pages. Okay, something that drives the flow. That is what the WebDriver is doing. So first, for us to do that, for us to drive it, first we have to get a web page, right? Or do some operations, we have to get a web page. So for that, what we do is we just do driver.get, and we have to give, let's give that calculator.net only. Where is that calculator.net URL? Can you copy paste from your Firefox browser?
Sure.
Yeah, we don't need the HTTPS then.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what it does is it simply gets that page. Now what do we have to do? Our driver should, we want our driver to perform some operations on some objects. Okay. So what are those objects? Let's say, let's try to do the same operations that we have done earlier. Okay. So what do we
Yeah.
do? We have to click, right? Click on, say, for example, 5. How do we click on 5? First, we have to find 5. Okay.
Mm.
So web element 5 equals to, what do we tell? We will ask the driver to find the elements. Okay. But we have to tell it how to find the element, right? We have to give it some means of knowing how to find that element. If you remember that Selenium IDE, we have given an XPath.
Yeah.
Okay, you remember that? So
Yeah.
what exactly we are doing it is, we are trying to find an element by XPath over there. Okay, open the Firefox browser and Selenium IDE also. Okay. So what exactly we are doing over here? We are giving it an XPath. We are asking it to find using this XPath. Find an element by this XPath. That's what we are telling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we have to do, we use the same thing. We ask the, okay. Uh, Unless you have something personal things, can you give the control, complete control? Otherwise, I have to always ask you to switch between that and this. Can you?
What is like
No, can you share
how
the
to
complete entire desktop rather than just a window?
is there an option that I can do? I don't know where option.
No, when, how did you share the screen there? If you have selected only share a specific window, that is what it's preventing me, I think. Still, I don't see your taskbar to be able to do anything.
share screen, keyboard and mouse with everyone. It is there.
Okay. Mm, okay, fine. I'll go to the IntelliJ IDE then. Just to use Alt tab now. Okay, and Alt tab again. Okay. Now we have to ask the driver to find element by using some means. So for that, what we have to do is, what does find element take? Find element takes, click here. What does find element take? Find element is taking an object of type by. Okay.
Mhm.
So for that, what we do is we have to create by dot. Okay. And there are different means using which we can identify create a by object. Okay. So for now, what
XPath.
we have to do, we are going to use by dot xpath.
Okay.
So we just give that xpath. Okay.
Okay.
Now what does this do? It finds an element by using an xpath, whatever xpath we have given over here. Okay.
Mhm.
And 5 will be an object. Now if we, what do, we have to click, right?
Yeah, click operation.
Okay. So it performs a click operation, and let's just stop there and try to run the test, whatever it did. Now it opens up a Firefox browser now, and then it opens that web page, and it clicked 5. Have you observed?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's as simple as that. Okay. So identifying elements, there are different ways of identifying elements. Okay. As I said, what does our uh, Firefox ID does when we are recording element? If it's their ID or name, it is using them. If it doesn't have, it is using CSS, and if it still doesn't have that also, it is using XPath. Okay, so that way we can use anyways, but always remember that ID and name are the most optimized ones. They are the
Okay.
quickest. Okay, and then the next best would be CSS. Okay, then if nothing else works, then go for XPath. Okay,
Okay.
XPath is risky in many ways. One is, uh, let's say you are trying to identify an element in a table. Okay, okay, sorry. Uh, okay, okay. Can you open the Firefox? Alt
Yeah.
tab.
I just wanted to try one thing. Like if I select only you,
It says you may take the keyboard and mouse control, but it doesn't show me the taskbar. Even
uh,
if I press Alt tab, it simply does on my machine, but not on your machine. So
okay.
just press Alt tab now yourself. Okay. Now let's say we want to verify if this element is having a text called investment calculator or not. Okay.
Okay.
But would the XPath be a good choice or not? First thing, to identify that, for always we have to go to this specific location. Okay, a specific path. If there is no way, one way, as I said, we can always use the XPath. Okay,
Okay.
this particular thing, whatever we see over here, we can always use the XPath. But the problem is, let's say they have let's say, how does XPath for this may be represented in many ways, right? It is, say, a seventh li element. Let's assume so. It's not exactly that. Let's assume that is seventh li element. So how do we write? We write something like this. Okay. So this will try to identify seventh li element. In that we want an a element. I'll explain all this XPath syntax and all later, but I'm just telling you now what you need at this point of time. Okay.
Okay.
So li of 7, which means it's the seventh list element, and then a, which means the a under that seventh list element. That's what this XPath indicates. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say they have inserted another element over here. What happens? That seventh will not be investment calculator anymore. Okay, it may be
Let
something else. Okay, our investment
yeah,
calculator will be 8,
yeah, it
right?
will change.
But we have already hard coded that in our script, so that's why
Yeah.
always use XPath as a last resort, and always avoid using indexes.
Okay.
Okay, so the best way of using this is something like li slash a of, which has an attribute of href equals to slash investment calculator, and then slash a. This is a better way. Okay, a much better way of identifying a list element that is containing this h investment calculator.
It reference.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this way, even if they change the index, it wouldn't be so much of a problem. Okay.
Yeah. We are just looking for the reference.
Yes, for that HTML. Okay, they may still change the HTML. Okay, no, there is no
Yeah.
denying that. But
But it's better.
changing of index will be more frequent than changing of a HTML page that they've already created.
Yeah.
Okay, and also another reason would be the readability of the text. Okay, let's
Okay.
say you have li of 7 slash a. Does a person who is reading your text understand that you are clicking on something like investment calculator? No, he will
No.
not. All he understands is you are clicking the seventh element. Okay, so for him to understand what exactly you are clicking, you always have to go back to the open that application and go navigate to that page, and then only you will be able to he will be able to understand.
Understand what is it? Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that is the second reason why we should always avoid using indexes. Unless we don't have any other means, we should never ever use indexes.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just readjust something so that it will be faster. Okay. Oh, oh. Close tabs. Okay. Now, let's say we want to click on 6. So all you have to do is change this to 6, and when you do, when we run the test, same test,
It creates
it
6.
clicks the 6. Okay, so all that you have to be able to do is change that element, whatever that you are trying to see. Now it clicked 6. Okay,
Yeah.
now let's execute that complete test case. Okay, whatever
Okay.
we have created so far. Okay, so we did 5, and then what do we have to click on? Web element. We have to click on multiply symbol, right?
Yeah.
Okay, driver dot find element. So what, let's not open IDE anymore, because you are not going to always open, say, a Selenium IDE to identify how to do. Okay, so what should be your workflow?
Fine.
Your workflow is always should be open that application, right click on it, say inspect element.
Inspect.
Okay, see if you have any clues for you to be able to use. Okay,
Okay.
it only seems to have um, SCIOP, which is again used by another thing also. Okay, so it's not that clear as well when we want to like, it doesn't have any identifying elements. Okay, uniquely identifying elements. So Let's simply use the same thing, whatever we have used over here. And here, instead of everything, we will put a star instead of 6. And this should be multiply element. Okay. And then we should be 5. And let's click create another element, 6. 6. And always follow proper naming convention so that it will be easy for you, okay, in long run. So
It
now,
should be in order, right?
no, we don't have
Like
to.
5.
Identifying the element doesn't have to be in order.
Or clicking should be okay.
Yes,
Okay,
clicking
good.
should be in order. We have clicked 5, and then we have to click multiply,
Okay, dot click.
and then we have to click 6.
We have to send.
Okay. Now what do we have to do? Next thing that we have to do is verify if it contains if that text is contained in this, right? If 30 is there in this or not. So how do we do that? Can you give me a clue?
We have to go to inspect element.
Okay. Inspect element. And now, so always think, okay, does it have any uniquely identifying element? It seems to have an ID.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So
see
let's
output.
use that itself. Okay. Now, web element output pane equals to driver dot find element of by dot. So it has ID, right? Now we are not going to use
Yeah,
XPath anymore. We can
by dot ID.
directly use this itself. Okay. So the ID is
Yes.
CI OUT
CI,
PUT. Okay. And what do we have to do? Can you guess?
We have to perform equal operation.
Uh, okay. Even before this output pane, we have to perform the equal operation, right? So for
Yeah.
that, can you try? Can you try that flow? Add that equal operation. Assertion, I'll tell you again, but finish that equal operation.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that part.
Uh, Try to run the test. Okay. What happened? Try to analyze the issue. What is the issue? Have you understood?
No.
Okay, always read the first line.
Okay. Unable to locate element.
Exactly.
Method expert star selector colon span at star.
Okay, let me give you a clue. It is unable to identify the multiplication. That is, you understood, right? See, if you
Yeah.
have done, if you have copied, or if you have added some extra things or some things like that. First thing, is it a span?
Yeah. It's a span.
It's a span. And then, see, try to see, are you able to see the difference? What exactly is the difference between that XPath and the one that you are
Yeah.
seeing in that
Yeah.
inspect window?
Yep. Is this a difference? Like it should be in colon.
And you want me to tell? I can tell. Okay, let me tell. You have extra single quotes. You observed,
Uh,
have you observed over here?
yeah, it has only double quotes and
It has only double quotes. Okay. So how do we, but we have to have the double quotes over there. So how do we work with that? I think this should work. No, put that single quote. Put that single quote. Now run the test and see if it is working or not.
mm,
It is still unable to find it, right?
yeah.
Now open your Selenium IDE test, whatever you have recorded earlier. Open that. How did it record that multiplication?
It within double quote.
It kept the double quotes only. Okay. So instead of single quotes, it kept this double quotes. So how can we give double quotes in here? No, if we give double quotes like that, it will be a problem, right? You have to give slash double quotes. Okay, now let's try.
Okay. Okay, it says the same thing for equal to.
Yes. So no, don't copy paste like that. Inspect. Maybe it is slightly different. So always do that. Inspect and then only go ahead and do. Don't follow same ID. We just opened it for how do I say? We just opened it for dirty reference, but we doesn't have to always do that.
Okay. Yeah,
I think same, right?
yeah, same.
Now run the test and see what happens.
We got the output, but again we got error.
Yeah, it performed till there, but it failed again. Where? SCI
This out.
output. Okay.
SCI.
See, we must have done something wrong there itself. Open that now, or inspect that element.
We got it.
Now, do you see the kind of challenges that we may face
Yeah.
while writing these things? So, ultimately, I'll introduce you to something like a page object pattern, which will reduce some of these errors. But for now, let's learn the basics only.
Yeah, if we go through some errors initially, then it will be even more clear for me.
Yes, yes. That's the reason why I'm making you do. I could have run it very fast without any errors, but
Yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah.
be learning that.
I,
Okay, so let me close this. And now we haven't done any testing here. Okay, we just performed some operations. That's it. Okay, how
yeah.
do we do the testing? We use the simple JUnit assertions only. We won't be using
Okay.
the assertions that Selenium does.
Okay.
Selenium has it, right? Has some things, right? Assert, text, and all Selenium ID had. If you remember, we did that just now.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't be doing all those things. String output text equals output pane dot get text, and let's just assert dot assert equals, and the actual value would be output text, and the
Expected.
expected value would be 30
Okay.
dot. Okay, so this is how.
Why is that dot comes?
No, it because
It
that
looks
that is a
like
functionality of this calculator.
okay.
Okay, because it is showing the dot in the end for whatever the value may be, we are putting that. Okay, otherwise we wouldn't have.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so for the fun of it, let's just assume that 5 into 6 is 31 and run the test.
Okay. Yeah, expected 31, but was found 30.
Yep. So just change it and run it so that we get a satisfaction that we finished a test. Test got executed.
Yeah.
Awesome. So now, what exactly? We generally don't put threads dot sleeps like this, but because we wanted to see what is going on, we kept that thread dot sleep. Yeah. and now you don't need any of these things. So now what exactly has happened? Let's revise this. What we did is we need something to drive our testing, perform our operations. Okay, be our backup to be able to perform the operations, right? So that's why we are creating a driver. The driver object has all the things, all the bells and whistles that we need for us to be able to perform some operations on a web page. Okay,
Mm.
and a WebDriver is just an interface which is implemented differently for different browsers. Okay, because the operation, the code behind how a button has to be found in Firefox may be different from how it has to be found in Chrome. Not this code, not the code that we are writing here, but the code that Selenium WebDriver itself should have to be able to identify that. When we say find element, it should go into the browser's memory and identify that object, everything, right? So that's why we have a every browser specific classes, browser specific classes to be able to instantiate, for us to be able to instantiate. Okay, now how do we so the driver, when we created the driver, first we have to get a web page. For us to be able to drive on a web page, we have to have the web page, right? So that's why we are using driver.get, and then we are passing a this one. Okay, now can you remove that HTTP and try to run the test and see what is that error you are getting? You haven't understood anything, right?
Yeah, yeah. If
Point
that
number one, when I
remove,
said remove HTTP, you shouldn't leave the slashes in the beginning. Okay, so always remove them completely. And now run and see what happens. It failed again. Now what is the error? Same, right? So if
same.
whenever it cannot find the protocol that we have to use, it fails like this. Okay, app.query interface is not a function. Driver info capabilities, it is unable to do all these things, right? Always you have to give http colon slash slash, then only it can do that, or https if that is what is required. Okay, now change that spelling of that calculator and see what is the error you are getting. Like that means a website that doesn't have, give some dummy characters. Yeah, exactly.
Unable to locate
Okay.
element.
Okay. So you see, it thinks it opened that page successfully. Okay, but it didn't really open that page behind this. That's why it is unable to find.
Okay.
Okay. So because it assumed that the previous step has gone correctly and continues to this that next step. Okay, so that's why we are, whenever we do something wrong, you always have to understand what are the different kinds of errors you get, then you will be able to quickly guess what is that you have done wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
and now can you click on your taskbar on Firefox, on your taskbar, Windows taskbar, the bottom bar right there, no, switching the windows, you use that bottom taskbar, click on
Mm.
Firefox. How many Firefoxes you have? Why do you think you have so many?
We created new instance every time when we run the test.
Exactly, but we are not closing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you close it? Can you guess?
If you have a command in our code like close the session or something, close the instance, something like that.
Yep, your guess is right. We have a method called close. Okay, that will be
Mhm.
actually closing that browser. Can you guess and write the code? Okay.
Okay, something.
You are very close. That's why I'm not telling. You did something wrong, but then you did something right. But because of the previous mistake, that is still haunting you. No, no. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. See, what exactly has happened? Where are we asking it to find elements? Try using the driver, right? The driver itself can close that page.
Okay.
Okay, so it's as simple as that. Now, can you try? Exactly. Now close all the other browsers that are opened and then try to, so that we'll know whether it is closing or not.
Yeah, true.
It closed, right? So that's it. You got the basics of how Selenium WebDriver works. Okay, of
Yeah.
course there are many complicated scenarios in this. Okay, let's say you have multiple web pages. Let's say you have a frame in a web page, whatever web page. Okay, open that calculator.net, no, that Firefox, and put it on the side, like how we kept side by side where IntelliJ and this one. Move to this extreme, no, then it will adjust directly like that. Yeah. Okay, whatever page you are seeing, the elements at least so far we are interacting are very simple. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the web page also is very simple. You so
Yeah.
far you have not seen any dialog boxes or anything. You also doesn't have any iframes, etc. Like a HTML page that is containing another HTML page. I'm not sure if you are aware of those things. So there are complicated structures of HTML page that can actually hinder the way that we write the tests and all. Okay, but before that, let me just simplify this test case even further. We don't really have to write so many lines of code, etc. Okay, we
Mm.
are trying to put this 5 and then we are trying to click on it, right? In fact, we don't have to do that
Okay.
because it is returning that object. We can directly perform operation on that object. We don't need this here. Okay, so this way we can quickly write the tests that we need. Okay, but there you have to remember that the order has to be perfect if we are doing like this.
Yeah. Because we're
Yeah,
giving the click operation.
yeah, because we are giving the click operation then itself. Okay, and then 6 we are clicking. We can just ignore these things, so because you got the concept, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so you don't really have to do like this, create an object like this and then click. You don't have to do that. You can simply do it this way. Okay, now
Okay.
uh, let's say we want to do a much complicated test case. Okay, let's say let's perform some operation. Say for example, uh, mm, let's say stock, and let's search for it. Okay, so now what do we want to test is we want to test whether we are getting uh, say for example when we searched on it, whether we are getting a text like, say for example, wait, whether we are getting 3 pages or not. How do we test it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to in order to test that, uh, the operations and all, everything is pretty much same. Okay, you don't have so much of difference. Okay, we can very quickly write the test. Public void find there are, check if there are 3 pages on searching for stock. Try to keep your tests as descriptive as possible so that people will be much clearer. People will find the test is much clearer without having to go through the code.
Okay.
So now we go to the home page. And then so far what we performed, we have performed click on that button, right? Now we have to set text on this. Okay, so for that what we do, let's inspect the element first, and it does seem to have a name of q. Okay, so always think, try to find easiest one. Driver dot find element dot of by dot, it has name, right? Name, and
Yeah.
the value in that name is q, and dot, we use send keys to be able to set value in that
Okay.
stock. Okay, and then there are two ways, either we can press enter or we can click the search button. Okay, for now let's click the search button. It does seem to have a name of SA. You can see
Yeah.
it here, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we can do that, but we'll go there only. So now we can click on that button, driver dot find element by dot name SA dot click. Okay, and let's, while most of the time while we are automating it, we perform those operations and continue like that. Okay,
Okay. So
uh,
that the flow will be good.
so now what is that we wanted to test? Let's make the test case even more complicated. Okay, how do we do that? Let's say our test case is, if we have say for example n results here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the number of pages should be n by 10. That's how it is working over here, right? There are 3 pages.
Yeah.
Okay, because n by 10 is returning 2.2, and we are doing a rounding, like rounding up, not instead of rounding down, we are rounding up, so that we are ending up 3 pages.
Sure.
Okay, our test case is, our always we should get that many pages based on the results.
Okay.
Okay, so how do we test that? So for that, what do we have to do? We have to first get the text that is there here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have to get the number of pages that are there over here, and then we have to do that mathematical calculation in our script and perform that operation. Okay, so
Okay.
let's do that, and first let's inspect this, what is there here, how we can figure out where what it is. Okay, it does seem to have an ID of res info 0, that means result info, and let's directly read the text into that. Res info equals to driver dot find element of by dot, what is it that we have? How shall we find it?
Start. We can inspect and see what it.
I already inspected. How shall we find this? I already inspected and we got this. So now,
Result.
by which one shall we use? You have trouble understanding, Hitesh?
Yeah, I got this line. I got confused. Like, why? What exactly we were trying?
First, understand the test case. Okay. What is the test case? The test case is that we get whatever, how many number of
20.
results we get. Okay, we get that many number of pages, like divided by 10 if required, plus
Yeah.
1. That is the test case
Yeah.
that we wanted to test, right? Okay, now for
Mm-hmm.
that, what would be your way of writing the test? First we have to inspect this element. First we have to get this text, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because now we know that there are 22. What if tomorrow there are 32? Our test case fails. Our test case should not fail, because our test case is that we should have n by 10 plus 1 pages if n is not exactly divisible by 10.
Okay.
Okay, that's our test case. Okay, we don't have a fixed set of numbers. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why how do we do that? First we have to extract the number of test results that are there. Okay, for that, what do? We inspect this element.
Yeah.
Okay, and inspect this and try to extract the number of results from this. Okay, so inspect element, and we got this. Okay, now how do I write finding the text for this? Like, how do I get this text? Okay, let me write so that you will
Using.
get ideas next. So result text equals, okay, the logic is always the same. Always use driver dot find element. Okay, always first go by id, then go by name, then go by css, then go by xpath.
Yeah.
Okay, because we have id here, we are using id by or id. What is the value? Res info hyphen 0, sorry, 0. And okay, we seem to have missed something. What is it? Okay, this is actually returning a web element, right? We have to get the text inside it. So get text, this will be returning the
Okay.
text into this. Okay,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
what do we have to do? We have to extract the 22,
Yeah.
right? So how can we do that? We can simply split the string by space, and take 22
The
out of it. Okay,
I
well,
can
I
see that.
think it will be, let's see what will be the element, number of element. uh, String array equals to result text dot split, Java, right? So you
Yeah.
can simply split it by space, and it will be returning an array, and string count equals to array of 2. I'm sorry, array of 1 it would be.
Yeah. 0.
0 would be about.
Yeah. The index starts from 0. Right?
Yeah.
So.
So now let's debug. Let's not take any chances. Let's debug, and let's find out what is happening. Oh, we need not have run the first Selenium test. See, now we got only 10 results. That's why we cannot trust the number, whatever we got. Okay, now how many pages did we have? We only have
1.
1 page, right? So now that's why let's make it a formulative kind of thing, so that it always passes as long as the application is working fine.
Okay.
Okay, so now what is that we want to debug is what are all there in what is there in array of 1. We got 10. So how do we convert this particular value into integer? Have you used parse integer dot parse int? There is a method called parse. parseInt that takes a string and returns an integer.
Okay.
Oh, this is a string, right? Double is 10 inside double quotes.
Yeah.
Okay. So always you use this parse instead of trying to do your own logic of converting a string to integer.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Now,
never use
now
parseInt. I use parse to strings.
use parse to
Code
string,
like
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got an integer. Okay. So now how do we test it? How do we check whether we have how many pages should be there? What is the formula? If count percentage 10 is double equals to 0, that means if count is divisible by 0, then sorry, if count is divisible by 10, the count is equals to number of pages will be count divided by 10.
Okay.
You understood this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then else, that means it is not exactly divisible by 10, then pages would be count divided by 10
Number 10 plus 1.
plus 1. Okay, so that's how we finish things. Okay, now we have got how many we need. Okay, let's just say save the page, and then in the run, let's say reload class changes, and then let's run step by step. Step over. Uh-oh. Okay, let's restart the test. Let's not worry about all this. Let's right click and let's print now. Let's print how many pages should be there first, so that we can add the assertion later. Pages. Let's run this test. Okay, it printed 10. Now what do we have to do? We have to close the browser also every time, right? Let's close it. Driver.close. But before closing it, we have to assert if we have the same number of the pages number is equals to this pages, like how many pages we got here. So how do we verify that? We have to let's inspect if we have any clue. Okay, let's inspect this. Now what do we have here? We have a division and then class equals to gsc cursor hyphen page. Let's maximize this for now. Let's inspect this. We got gsc cursor page 0 and tab index 0, and we have content is 2. Now what do we have here? We have class equals to gsc hyphen cursor hyphen page. Okay, in the same way we have multiple pages actually. 1 2 3, we have multiple divisions, right? So what do we have to do? We have to somehow find out all the elements that are starting with gsc cursor page, where class equals to this, and we have to find the last element of it so that we'll get the last page.
Yeah.
Right? So now it is slowly getting complicated, right?
Yeah. It's little getting. Yeah. Slowly getting.
Yeah. So now let's do that, and once you have if you have doubts, we'll clarify them once in the end. So now what do we do? Driver dot find, and do you see something over here? Find elements. Okay, what do you think find
we have
elements do?
more than if we have more than one element to be find it at a time, we can use find it.
Yes, it returns an array. Okay, what exactly it
Yeah.
returns? Oh, let's see what it returns. It returns a
List.
list of web elements. Okay, so now by dot id, I'm sorry, it doesn't have id, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have ID. It has
It
the
has
class
class name,
name GSC.
GSC cursor page. Okay, now this has to be assigned to a variable. I have already used pages, so I cannot use pages here.
Yeah.
Page links, let's say page links. And then what will be the count here? Let's say page links, let's just print page links, no? How many are there in page links? Page links dot count, I think size. Yeah. So now let's run this test and see what will be the output. Now we got 22 results. So the tests got executed and the console output is 3. Okay, so now what is that we got? Number of pages that are having this class name is 3. Okay, so that's all we have to validate, right? Whether we got
Yeah.
that many number of pages based on our calculation or not.
Okay.
Assert dot assert equals, and what is the expected value? Actual value is page links
Yes.
dot size, comma, and the calculated
Pages
value.
dot size.
Okay,
Pages dot size.
so this is it. This is our test case. Okay, so this is not actually checking if there are 3 pages. Check if there are right number of pages. Okay, for stock కూడా అవసరం లేదు. Of course there are no hard and fast rules ఇలాగే ఉండాలి ఎలా ఉండకూడదని. So use your best judgment.
Okay.
Okay, now if we run the test, it should pass. Okay, what happened? Why do you think has gone wrong? Because we changed the class name, right? We cannot find this method. So right click and run.
Yeah, it passed.
It passed. Okay, so now you understood, right? It's always
Yeah.
this logic varies from test case to test case based on the requirement. Okay,
Okay.
so you always have to think, okay, how can I get the expected value based on this test case? Is it coming directly from a requirement, or is it do I have to do some perform some mathematical calculation, or do I have to fetch that value from some database and validate? That varies. How do you get the expected value? Always varies.
Okay.
Okay. So all this we did to get that expected value only.
Yeah.
Okay. And this we did to get the actual
to
value.
get the actual value.
Right? Okay, so
Yeah.
always keep that in mind. Now,
Okay.
try to perform some of these kind of operations on Selenium. I'll send you an email as to what you have to do and all. Uh,
Sure.
I want you to first see, every test case has this code, right? Every test case, in the beginning
Yeah.
we have to write this, and the ending we have to write this.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to write that. How do you optimize in such a way that I don't have to write these things in every test case? Use
Okay.
JUnit principles. You have used some
Before
annotations,
class.
right? Before, after, etc., right? Use
Yeah.
that. My test case should only contain this code.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I
Okay.
got you.
So do that. Along with that, I'll try to see if I can find some scenarios for you to work on, or try to imagine some scenarios and try to automate them.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Do you have any doubts on the session that we had today?
No. Good. It
No.
was very. Yeah, because I did not know anything about WebDriver, and you gave me a good basics, and we had written a complicated test case, so
Yeah.
it's clear.
Yeah. So if you get any doubts, just note them.
Yeah.
Shall we have a session tomorrow also?
Yeah, we could.
Okay. Fine. We'll have one session tomorrow
Or
also.
if it is Sunday, like if like Sunday generally like you take off, right? If it is okay for you, then we can have it. Not. Either the way, I'm
Yeah,
okay anyway for
but
3 days.
it's getting too delayed, right? So we want to finish this so that like also will be
Mhm.
we don't have so much of pending things.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Yeah,
So that's why we wanted to finish much faster. And if you don't have much work, we will see if we can take something on weekdays, but otherwise we will only have on during the weekends.
yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I
depending
have
on
some
yours and
some
free time and
things.
all, we will schedule. It won't take so many sessions actually. Maybe the next session and one more session, like two more sessions should be, we should be good in terms of Selenium things. Okay.
Okay, cool.
And then if you want, we may be able to take some things like I mentioned Apache Py or something, right?
Yeah,
That also we can take. Uh, that will give you complete idea on in all areas of automation. Uh, Mansa has already taken you through the Java and JUnit, and
yeah,
how do we read the data, and from somewhere we may use some Excel or something, and then how do we integrate them with Selenium. When we understood all these four concepts, it would be good. Okay.
okay.
So of course Mansa has covered some more topics also that are not there in the curriculum, but as you needed them in your work, but
Yeah,
I don't think we need anything more at this point of time. Okay, so we'll finish
yeah.
the
Like
rest
she's
of the.
used to my projects, and also she's helping me great to be frank.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So I think that's all I have. Unless Mansa, do you think I missed anything so far? Okay, she must be on mute or something. I'll upload this recording just like the last one,
Sure.
and
Yeah,
so that you can go through them. I'll also send you if you want to do any extra sessions. I mean
yeah.
extra
Like if
assignments.
you have some, yeah, if you have some links which I could refer, or if you have some already done videos like which explains more scenarios, and so that I can get used to Selenium that they were more.
See, if I give you some scenarios, I'll only give you in such a way that you can do with this, whatever knowledge you have gone through.
Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, otherwise it will become confusing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, whatever you have taught me, it's clear. So, based on this, if you have scenarios to that I could work, or I could think about some scenarios and try to work on some things. Because I do have this web page, so
Yeah.
I can think about some things and try to work on it.
Try to go open some other page now, so that you may have some more kind of objects, different kinds of things, etc. Okay. When you work on different wide varieties of applications, you will find wide varieties of problems actually.
Okay.
Okay. If I get any web pages, good web pages that you can try,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you. Otherwise, if you find anything, you may also follow that directly.
Sure.
Okay. Okay then. Chalo Hitesh. Have a great day. Try to practice
Yeah.
something before today,
Sure.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Sure. Thank
Okay.
you.
Chalo. Bye.